for thinking of me. Thank you so much for inviting me to such an important day, which marks the birth of one of the biggest youth icons, a trailblazer, somebody who led India in the direction of patriotism, self-searching, self-belief, righteousness, selfless service. To be remembered as a speaker on a day like this is a moment of great value and gratitude in my life. Something which says that maybe in a small way, I have moved in the right direction, and this has validated my hard work. We all have heard all the values that Swami Vivekananda, Guru Paramahansa, our Honorable Sister Nivedita, they all have preached us some values. They may seem like speeches, debates. It's an occasion we have to prepare a lecture, go speak. But trust me, these values are not mere words, speeches that have to be remembered on one dedicated day. Today I'm 56 years old. You must be at least 40 years younger than I'm on average. In the 40 years which I have experienced life more than you all, let me tell you, whatever value was described here has practically been my source of inspiration and direction in life. I do not know whether I directly learned these values as values by Swami Vivekananda ji, but now when I look back, and even today when I was hearing all the speeches and recalibrating, recounting, did I really follow these principles to become who I am today? And then I remembered that on the bookshelf of my father, I always saw big, thick books written by Swami Vivekananda or about him. Maybe he read them, and through that I got the right values. Today, we are blessed that we are able to listen to these values. और वो कहते हैं ना, एक ऐसा गुरु हमें आदरणीय विवेकानंदा जी के रूप में मिला, और गुरु की जब बात करते हैं तो बार बार मुझे वो दोहा याद है, सब धरती कागज करूं, लेखनी सब बन राय, सात समुद्र की मसी करूं, गुरु गुण लिखा न जाए. And if I translate it for you, सब धरती कागज करूं, मतलब I convert the entire earth as a writing sheet. लेखनी सब बन राय. Whatever wood is available on planet Earth, I convert them into a kalam, a pen. सात समुद्र की मसी करूं, मतलब सात समुद्र, 7 oceans converted into the ink, and yet we will not be able to write the praise of a teacher, preacher who gives us the light of knowledge and direction. If I take you to my childhood, Vivekananda ji says that come, arise and do not stop till your goal is achieved. When I was young, I was suffering with chest below paralysis. The tumors were coming in, and my father was not able to know, the doctors were not able to know why she is losing power in her lower limbs. I was barely 5 years old when for the first time they noticed that there is something wrong. Deepa, who loved playing outside, is no longer going outside. She's sitting in the room and coloring books, playing with the dolls. My father came back home and he asked my mother one day, 6-7 days went by, and he said, why Deepa is not outside? Usually when I come back, I experience that mummy is shouting, Deepa kahan gayi? Deepa ko game se वापस लाओ, Deepa park में है, ढूंढो Deepa kahan gayi? And for 7-8 days he didn't see me outside. So he just asked my mother, who was talking over the fence, to the neighbor lady. And he said, "Where is Deepa? She's not seen outside nowadays." And she turned around and said, "Oh, Deepa is behaving like a girl nowadays. She's playing with the dolls. Otherwise, she's always kicking around the football with the boys." That way, that day, I felt, now when I was listening, thank God there was a Nivedita in my mother. Thank God there was a Swami Vivekananda in my father. They did not give colors. They did not give genders to colors, to hobbies, to sports by saying, "ये लड़की के लिए है, ये लड़के के लिए है." And because they were like that, they could identify that there is something naturally going wrong with this child. And they took me to the doctors, they took me child psychologists to know why I don't want to go out. And slowly I lost power. I was admitted in the hospital. And once, 2 years later, when they operated upon me, they found a tumor sitting in the spinal cord. But even during this 2 years of stay, everyone who came to see me, when it is a fracture for 6 weeks, when it is a viral fever for 2 weeks, people understand. But when it is a continuous illness for 2 years, where your child is lying in the bed with tubes all over her body, parents running between hospital and home, Papa managing a job, can't take a long leave, they would come and say, "Pray to Almighty that, the soul is taken away from the body, and what will this girl do? Even if she grows up, she'll be like a vegetable lying in the bed." My parents never gave up on me. They never left hope, faith, positivity, and the ability to serve me for those 2 years. That is called resilience. That is called service. Practically, the values were implemented, not just in the books or read in speeches. When you go back from here and if you hear my story, remember that when these values are implemented into action, they actually serve a fruitful purpose. Because they did not give up on me, they did not take me away from the hospital to go home and die. 2 years later, a myelogram X-ray technology came up. In that, they injected a dye in my body and they rotated the bed, they clicked pictures, and they understood that there is an obstruction inside the nerves. I was operated, they found a tumor, it was successfully removed, my life was saved, and they put me in exercises. Now when they put me in exercises, I used to feel very, very, it used to hurt a lot. Calipers, chest braces, trying to make me stand, those straps, those iron rods would dig into my body, make blisters, make cuts, and I would cry. And that's where I learned the biggest lesson in the most difficult time of my life as a little girl. They taught me that, "Deepa, today if you stand for 2 minutes and practice standing, keeping your eyes on your larger goal of learning to walk again, tomorrow you'll be able to stand for 4 minutes. Today you take 5 steps, tomorrow you will take 10 steps. You will be able to gain strength to walk, and that is your focus. To achieve that goal, you have to go through a bit of discomfort, a bit of pain, a bit of struggle." And that is exactly what Swamiji has taught us. To focus on the larger picture and then continue to work hard till you achieve it. Thank God I practiced those values and I was able to walk again. Once I walked again, I became a person who could push her boundaries, who could raise new goals and bars for herself, who could strive to become a better version of herself each day. With the power of walking, I could go back to school, I could enjoy sports in school, I could run around, cycle around, play sports and fall in love with sports. And when I grew up, I got married and I decided to bring up my daughters the same way. I became mother of 2 daughters. But unfortunately, my elder daughter had a road accident, and due to the head injury, the left of her body got paralyzed. While we were still struggling with her treatment, my tumors came back, and I became chest below paralyzed after a surgery. A situation where me and my daughter, both of us were admitted in the hospital at the same time, being treated for paralysis, and people said this family is cursed. People means people who have not learned these values, people who have not understood the value of education. Education is about solutions. Education is about acceptance. Education is about being positive and supporting each other and not bringing each other down. There were few people who stood like a rock by our side. That's why we are where we are today. And thanks to them and thanks to the values practiced, we were able to go through that. Instead of, Swamiji tells us, take control of your inner thoughts. Now when you are in a situation like this where doctors tell you you will never be able to walk again, you could have died also on the operation table, your spinal cord is cut because the tumor was very large. I was left in a body which is till date for past 26 years, chest below. Chest below means below this, I do not feel my body. I don't have sensation. I don't have muscle control. I don't have a torso balance. I can't raise my both arms, otherwise I'll fall forward. I don't have temperature control in my body.